what's up? Check out this blunt and honest review from the Jock and Nerd Podcast. That's us. My name is Imran.
My name's Anthony.
He's the jock.
He's the nerd.
And he's the rug boy.
What's up, guys?
Jock and Nerd. All right, let's get to it, fellas. We are here. We have approached the 6th movie in the Sony Spider-Man universe. We're going to be reviewing Kraven the Hunter. Here's your spoiler alert.
Strap yourselves in, you fucks. Spoiler time.
Oh, boy, Sony, you did it. You did it. You put 3 of these out. Like I said, 6 in the Sony Spider-Man universe. The 3rd one this year after Madam Web, Venom 3, and now the gift of Lee Cravino, the Cravinator. Of course, Kraven's first appearance in The Amazing Spider-Man number 15, way back 1964, created by Stan Lee and Steve Ditko. This movie was supposed to come out in January of 2023, and it's delayed a couple of times. On the Rotten Tomatoes, here's where it gets fun. Right now, it's holding a tomato meter of 15%.
Sloppy Jock.
Hey. 72% popcorn meter audience rating for what it's worth.
Right.
Now, the track record for these movies here, I have Sony's Spider-Man universe, not the greatest. At the top of the list, Venom, Let There Be Carnage, 58%. Followed by Venom, The Last Dance, 41%. Followed by the original Venom at 30%. Followed by Morbius and Kraven, tied now at 15%. Madam Web, 11%. This franchise they've given us has not one fresh. It's all the green splat on every movie.
If you add them all together, do they get to 100 yet or no?
What? Just barely. I don't know.
Do the math.
It takes a lot of effort to do something like that.
I was told there would be no math.
Have a movie at all be good?
Yes.
Critically?
Yes. To put out 6 in a franchise and none of them get above 60. Wow. You know, it also takes a lot of effort for these movies to bomb financially as well as critically. And that's also happened. You did it again, Sony. Before this movie came out, also, I noticed it was removed from like 1,000 theaters. So normally a wide release is like 4,200 theaters. This thing only comes out in like 3,200.
So it came out crippled a little bit.
It came out crippled because of what was around it, your Moanas and your Wicked's and your IMAX screens. The budget of this movie estimated to be about $110 million. It opens to $11 million opening weekend.
Lame.
Wow. Currently,
that's bad.
Worldwide, it's sitting at $26 million. This is the lowest opening weekend for any of these.
How high do you think it's going to get?
Sony Marvel movies.
50 million?
No, I'm gonna guess it domestically ends at 30.
Oh, you think it bottoms out at 30? Yeah.
Might be even lower.
What about worldwide? You think it's going to get to 50?
It's at what, 20 right now?
Yeah.
It's at 26 worldwide.
I'm going to go less than 60.
Madam Web opened to higher than this, 15 million. Morbius opened to 39 million, surprisingly. This is the lowest. The only Marvel films lower than this are Punisher Warzone and Howard the Duck, opened lower. This is at the bottom. But like I said earlier, I heard from Campia, he ran the numbers. These movies are profitable somehow.
Well, no, they're profitable if you put them all in the aggregate. They're not profitable individually.
No, but the 6 together,
right? That's
have made profit.
That's a great spin job, but that doesn't mean that they're all profitable.
Okay, but they're not. They have not. They've made money. That's what that means.
No one's popping champagne bottles over there.
No, they're not. But they've made them a little bit of. Anyways, it's yeah.
It made nothing.
It's still out. We got to see where it's not going to make a lot of money. Nobody's seeing this.
Jesus Christ.
This one directed by J.C. Chandor. His last movie was Triple Frontier, 2019. It's on.
I like that movie.
It was pretty good. It's on Netflix or Max or something. Ben Affleck, action movie in the woods. Not bad. The writing, this is from a screenplay by Richard Wenk, who has written on all the Equalizers. And this is great. Art Markham and Matt Holloway. These guys wrote on Iron Man. They wrote Uncharted. They wrote Transformers: The Last Night, Men in Black International, and guess what they wrote, fellas? Punisher Warzone.
Oh, shit.
Oh, wow.
Tying it all back to our last week's What the Fuck Happened. Same guys. So that explains a little bit, I think.
They write movies that no one goes to see.
Yeah, also opened very low. The opening weekend of Kraven already made more than Punisher Warzone's entire box office run. Take that for what it is. Anyways, R-rated, 2 hours, 7 minutes. Anthony.
Yes.
What happens in Kraven the Hunter?
Kraven the Hunter, or Mr. Kravenov, is about this hunter named Kraven.
You don't say.
Who as a teenager gets imbued with powers by a lion and a random girl when he is attacked by a lion on a hunt with his father, who's a nefarious Russian. And by getting these powers, he realizes that he doesn't want to continue his dad's legacy and runs away, leaving behind his dad and his little brother, and goes off killing people, being a hunter, killing bad people. All of a sudden, he gets wrapped back into his father's ecosphere and his brother's ecosphere when someone threatens his family, and he has to go back in and figure out what the hell is going on and hunt those motherfuckers. So there you go.
That is a pretty good recap of this fucking disjointed as fuck movie. I gotta give you props. That's it's very impressive, because I could not tell you
that would have taken you 20 minutes.
But just the way I had trouble. I was like, what was this movie about? It's a mess. All right. Anyways. Oh, I forgot to mention the cast. That's kind of important.
Go for it.
Let's do that real quick. We got Aaron Taylor Johnson as the lead of Sergei Kravenov. Old Mr. Kickass, old Quicksilver. He's also in Nosferatu. He's in like good movies. Ariana DeBose playing Calypso. We got Fred Heckinger playing his brother, Dmitry Kravenov. We just saw Fred in Gladiator 2. He was one of the emperors. We got Alessandro Nivola playing Alexei Sistovich, who is the Rhino. We have Christopher Abbott playing the Foreigner. Russell Crowe as playing the father, Nikolai Kravenov. And some people playing young versions of them and some other people. I think that's your main cast there. But in this cast, I will note, you have 2 Oscar winners in Ariana DeBose and Russell Crowe. Anthony, did any of this add up to be anything good?
So, I mean, leading up to this movie, we were, at least for me, well, all of us, I think, were pretty skeptical that this was going to be any good. They decided to release the first 8 minutes to build up some hype. I wasn't exactly anticipating this movie, but I also thought maybe it could be silly fun. If you caught my instant reaction on Patreon, plug for the Patreon, my thoughts have not changed. This movie is just absolute dog shit. I mean, it is one of the worst movies I've seen this year.
Whoa.
And that's saying something because I saw Madam Web.
Yeah. Yikes.
I mean, this movie, they had to try to make it this bad. I just don't get it. First off, the amount of ADR in this movie, why can't they record their lines with their lips moving on screen correctly?
Listen, every movie does ADR to some extent. It needs to.
Yes, but this movie doesn't hide it very well.
Yes, it's the art of how you do it.
Yeah, so the amount of ADR, the amount of times I was sitting there and I started laughing at lines that weren't supposed to be funny, the semblance of the plot, I mean, the forward momentum, the way it's cut, the some of the CGI, I mean, just this movie is just for lack of a better term, an abomination. This is horrible. I don't know what you got. I didn't listen to your interaction, so I'm more than excited to hear that. But fuck, this movie sucked. I mean, it's 2 hours too long. It's like Sony keeps doing these throwback style 2000s movies in the vein of Elektra and Catwoman, and I just don't get why they continually churn out movies that are that bad. It sucked. This was horrible. This is a horrible viewing experience. It's terrible.
Yep.
There's nothing. I have nothing good to say about this movie.
How many people in your theater?
I saw it on a Saturday matinee, so probably 12. So probably like 15.
Yeah.
But I mean, this movie it's fucking horrible. It's horrible. It's competing with Madam Web. I don't know where I'll land on it.
I know.
The shifts in tone, the lines that are said that are meant to be. I mean, I wish I could have taken some notes because I was in a theater. I wasn't an asshole, so I didn't take down notes. But I mean, some of the fucking lines that they have. I mean, the Calypso just being a like voodoo girl, magician, and then a lawyer, and then an archer, like whatever the plot needs her to be, she just is. I mean, just it's fucking horrible. There's so much to talk about. Go ahead, guys.
Rugs. How are you feeling at the end of this?
I actually didn't hate it as much as Anthony did. I don't think it's a good movie by any means.
Yeah.
And I think that the Calypso character is probably one of the worst characters ever put on screen. The actress is not her fault. They CGI'd her mouth at one point in time to do the ADR, and it looked like, you know, when like Conan O'Brien or
does the clutch cargo or whatever.
Yeah, you would like do the mouth with them, you know.
It's not as bad. Like Madam Web does it way more worse. It's more noticeable.
Oh,
but
shut up! It does. They do it every time Calypso is on screen. She is ADR.
They do it a lot.
They do it a lot.
They're clearly trying to cover something up that they didn't like in the script. They took something out.
Yeah,
they changed something. But and look, in no way is this Kraven the Hunter. First of all, he doesn't have fucking tights with little fucking leopard skin fucking prints on it, and he doesn't have little slippers on. That's what my favorite part of Kraven.
He's barefoot. You know? He's barefoot.
He's just like a normal dude most of the time, and he doesn't have the slick back hair,
doesn't have a Russian accent,
mustache. Yeah, he's just not Kraven. But and you know, Kraven doesn't have like lion powers. He doesn't have like the Nacho Libre stuff going on where he gets a drop of blood in his system with this magical thing. And, you know, but I did enjoy some of the action sequences when they were taking his brother in the car, and I thought that was kind of fun.
Even though it was like
really bad. Yeah. Even though it was really bad, I still was like, all right, at least I'm having fun in watching this action scene. It's not a great action scene, but it's like, okay, it's entertaining enough for me to like, whatever. So I don't know what to say about this movie. Is this a bad Kraven movie? Because it doesn't reflect Kraven in any way. Yeah. It's a bad Spider-Verse movie. It's just a badly assembled movie, even in its own right. Like the way that they deal with Calypso, and like she's just sitting there with her grandmother in the windiest fucking area in the world.
With tarot cards that don't fly away.
That don't fly away.
Explain that. No, there's a lot. Yes.
And then she immediately like just does this like 2-card draw. It's like, all right, I'm going to give you now this fucking vial that you're just going to use on the first asshole that you see.
Listen, we'll get into all that. They don't explain anything.
It's like, it's just, the writing is just, they're writing it for like people who are, have like a 3 IQ, like an IQ in the fucking, in the single digits. It's really bad. So, I don't know, but was it as bad as Madam Web? I don't think so. I feel like it was, like Madam Web was like, I didn't even understand what the fuck that movie was. There was too many characters. This at least is stuck. It kept it simple at least.
Did it though?
And it told the story of this guy's origin, and you can see the arc of like him wanting to fucking supplant his dad, and his dad, he wanted to fucking get rid of his dad. And he figures out a way to do it with the fucking bear, you know?
Yeah. So, okay.
Whatever.
Look, my opening thought when this movie ended, I was like, I had low expectations, and it was exactly what I expected. I was like, Sony did it again. You gave me an unimaginative kind of cash grab movie. I was legit like dozing off in the first half in that super long flashback. It was way too long. We will get into that. And despite like the decent action in between, it's fucking boring. The script is a mess. The movie doesn't know I didn't know where it was going. There's no plot until like halfway through when the brother gets kidnapped. I was like, what is happening here? I'm not sure who the movie is for. The dialogue is horrible. And I was so torn because part of me, the teenage Spider-Man fan, is getting references to all these Spider-Man things, but the way they do it is absolutely the worst, almost offensive way.
They just throw it at you.
Spider-Man shit in this movie without Spider-Man. I didn't give a shit about any of these characters.
Why can't anything be earned anymore?
Ariana DeBose
why do they just throw it? They just hand wave it away.
Russell Crowe's accent is so fucking cartoony and over the top, and there's so many things. So let's just dive in. We saw the first 8 minutes, and they showed you that again. And there's an extra little bit where He like
That was
stares.
the best part of the movie.
Yeah, well, that was one of them. He stares down a wolf. He jumps in, and you're like, this is great. He's going around the world. He's fucking taking down poachers. Dope action scene. And then they hit you with a fucking 25-minute flashback
way
teenage
too long.
origin. And I did not catch a lot of what was going on here because I immediately started just dozing off. I was like, holy shit, what happened? Okay, so his father picks him up from the school, goes, your mother committed suicide. She killed herself. She was weak. Great way to tell them. And then they just go on this hunting
What an
trip.
asshole.
Well, he's such an asshole. We get it. He's an asshole. Then you have the hunting trip and the actual origin, which is just wacky as all hell because Alexei is there for some reason. The guy who's the rhino leader. I don't know why he was there. But what do we think?
He wanted to be a partner of the guy.
Yes.
And, the guy
and then
no.
he turned on him, so that's why he's mad. But what do we think of this origin of Sergey
Sucks balls.
kind of connecting with a lion, protecting his brother, getting mauled by the lion, and just happens to be this random girl, Calypso. By the way, did you know her name was Calypso? They only said it like 400 times. They were like,
was horrible.
Calypso, with this random serum, this random guy, and then a drop of blood mixed with the serum gives him some
Horrible.
big powers, and then she leaves a tarot card, which he keeps and still has.
It reminded me
fuck
of
is going on?
when they made Catwoman and she falls and
Yes.
the cats are just all around.
Yes.
And she's like takes on the power of the cats. It's just super lazy. I mean, I get that comics sometimes can be real lazy, but fuck, man, like bit by a lion and like you said, Ruggs, the drop of blood, and then the girl just stumbling upon her, and
And then he sees mystic ruins and writing and some shit, and they don't explain any of it ever.
Look, the point is that the comic books were written in a time for like young kids to read.
Yes.
They were dumbed down but when you're making a movie, now you have the time to actually make it make sense. Give it a little bit more verisimilitude. Give it a little bit more oomph. Like actually, and the thing is that they invented this. They could have invented anything. They weren't bound. They weren't bound. Like when you're doing Spider-Man, you're bound to this radioactive spider. So, okay, now you got to make it work. But they weren't bound to anything. They could have literally done anything.
There's
and that
so
was
many
the
better
best
things they could have done story-wise in this movie that you're just like, why wouldn't you just do this? Like you develop this father. I thought Russell Crowe was going to be in it more as the evil father that he's got to take down. What side is the brother on? And they just kind of waste him, and he seems to be just phoning it in, really.
And he becomes the chameleon.
And then the brother, if you read the comics, that's the thing. These guys who wrote this, same thing in Punisher Warzone. This stuff, if it was in a comic book, you could kind of get away with it. But when they translate it to screen, they forget that it's a movie and not a comic book, and it doesn't work. Because in the comics,
also love that the brother is just the dude from Gladiator 2. Just playing the same pup, saying some creepy dude in this too.
Kind of cowardly singer, and it's so heavy-handed where his father is like, he could do any voice like a chameleon. Oh, get it? Voice like a chameleon. And they're just dubbing over other people's voices. He can mimic people. Yeah. It's ridiculous. So after that, he runs off and he fucks off and he kills some poachers as a kid. He finds the fucking dome to live in. And then I
love that he feels compelled to run away, but also is like, I'm going to leave my brother here.
Yeah. You don't give a shit about your brother? You don't like your father? He doesn't even say I'll come back or anything. He's like, fuck off. Yeah. And then we just jump to the present and he's just Kraven now. It's like, it's almost like a Call Me Jigsaw moment. He's like, yeah, call me Kraven. People know about him. I do love the scene where he takes down the poachers and he bites the dude's nose off. The action is bloody. It's violent.
It's all right. It's fine. It's fine.
It's not bottom of the barrel. It's just par.
You can tell though. I mean, even the way he's moving around, like there's a
lightness,
it's not
like a floatiness almost.
Yeah, like when he's jumping down, it's not Marvel. Even Marvel Studios does it better. Yeah. Like you can tell the way they edit it. It's just like, and he like. It doesn't look right.
There's no
everything
weight to
kind of
it.
The CGI on some of his movements is just off. It just doesn't look right.
A lot of the time he's doing like Spider-Man type shit, which was very confusing to me. Why are you making him crawl around? That whole car chase scene, the car chase to the helicopter when he's on top of the car, that's like a scene from the Spider-Man video game. Like he's being Spider-Man. I will say that scene where the brother is kidnapped because he's sleeping out in the park for some reason. And the car chase to the helicopter that reminded me of Steve Rogers holding a helicopter. That's probably the best scene in the movie. It's a pretty dope chase. And, it shows how strong he is, and he's trying to hold back the fucking.
I feel like, is this like, why aren't you Captain America?
Yeah. It's kind of like Captain America. And if the movie had more of that would have been great. I don't know.
No,
I don't know. No. But think about that scene, though. It's pretty ballsy because he's on the car. He's bouncing off things. He's trying to fucking hold it back. He's trying to
punching through bulletproof glass. Yeah.
Yeah. And he's trying to do shit. I'm like, that's kind of cool.
That shot where he jumps and throws the fucking spear right into the dude. And I was like, that's dope. That was fucking great.
But yeah, that's just, it's not like. It's memorable enough that when we're talking about it, I remember it pretty clearly. But I know in like 2 weeks I'll forget about it.
Yeah, but I agree. Yeah. The action is okay, but the movie is just the crap around it. So I mean, like for example, I don't understand what Aaron Taylor Johnson's accent even is. I don't understand how. I don't know how Russian kids growing up in England have American accents.
They went to school in America, but
they went to school.
Yeah,
how long were they in school in America? Clearly, they had. If they were in school, and they had to have been in school since they were at least kids.
Right?
Like there's no way they're going to have an American accent without being in school for at least, I would say, good 3-4 years at least.
Yeah.
At least, and they'd have to be there when they were young.
Yeah.
If they got there when they were older, they're not developing a full-on American accent.
Yeah, it makes no sense.
Even Aaron Taylor Johnson's like a fine. I mean, he clearly got ripped and jacked.
Yeah,
props to him. But the lines they had for this guy. I mean, there's one scene. Anytime him and Calypso are interacting, you notice the ADR.
Yeah,
it's not. The ADR to me is just as bad as Madam Web. So I'll put that out there. Every time it's a wide shot, it's ADR. Every time. The way they're interacting, I mean, the script is written for her to be just whatever the script needs. The fact that she's gives him the card and then serendipitously is now a lawyer that he connects with.
And he finds her?
Well, shut up real quick. He finds her and he just casually throws out there, they're sitting in a park and he goes out, oh yeah, I'm killing everybody basically. And she just sits there and like the immediate first reaction for any person would be like, what the fuck? Who are you? Like, I'm good and away from you.
Yeah,
she just sits there and is like, oh, that's kind of cool.
Well,
that's crazy.
They had something there that they could have used. They didn't. She made him.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
So she's responsible for him. Yeah. So they could have used that in some way and made it a cool thing where she's like feels compelled now and she created this fucking killer, but he's killing bad guys, but so she's conflicted. They didn't have anything. They could have had something cool like that, but they didn't do that.
There's another thing too where they're in the house now. He captures her and because he needs to protect her in their house, and I forget what the exact dialogue is prior, but they're talking about something. And then the next line he goes, it's just out of nowhere. He goes, so I've been trying to figure out how you made this serum. And it's just like, what? Like the flow in the conversations is not realistic at all. It's written really badly.
Yeah.
And then read even worse on screen.
Yeah, Ariana DeBose, she's good. She's a good actress, and I'm surprised how bad this was. Even Russell Crowe, like they're both really good. They're Oscar winners. The script doesn't help them. Nobody is good in this.
Jackson Pollock is horrible in this from Face Off.
Castor Troy, Jackson.
Castor. No, not Castor Troy. Jackson Pollock, the fucking little brother. Yeah.
Christopher.
He's horrible in this. I mean, for halfway through at least half the movie, I'm going, what conflict are we building towards?
There's no conflict.
Who do I want to see this protagonist even kill? Like what's happening? Are we just hanging out this entire movie? What's going on?
Why does he have a condition that makes him into a rhino?
So let's talk about the rhino, because this guy, first of all, he makes some weird noises. Did you catch that one scene where he's standing there and he gets the bad news and he's just like, I don't know. He makes some noise. I'm like, what the fuck is happening? But he has a camelback full of medicine to keep him from becoming the rhino. And when we want to know how did he become the rhino, he just tells you, oh, I went to see this doctor. And the doctor
Miles Warren.
is Miles Warren, which as a Spider-Man fan, you're like, oh, that's the guy. That's the Jackal. He cloned Gwen Stacy and Peter Parker. But
Is that the Rhino's origin in the comics?
I know. He has nothing to do with the Rhino or Chameleon in the comics, I don't think. So they're just shoehorning some shit in here, like all the Daily Bugle newspapers. We get it. But the Rhino, final look of it, I'm torn on this too. It looks bad,
Not good.
but it's kind of what it would look like because the actual comic book costume is also kind of ridiculous looking. I don't know if you could make that work and make it. It's about as comics accurate you could get, but it doesn't look good still.
I just think it's not what it could have been, but it's better than the fucking Paul Giamatti one.
Yeah. The way the Rhino looks is probably the worst, the least of this movie's problems.
Yeah.
If I'm being honest, it doesn't look good. Let's be clear.
Yeah.
It doesn't look good. I don't really understand why the serum thing is a thing. Like, why do you even need that?
A lot of serum going around.
But
Yeah, just make it so that he can control it. I don't know. I just don't. That's stupid.
you can't control.
This movie's just fucking stupid, man. It is a horrible movie.
Then there's the Foreigner. There's too many fucking bad guys in this movie, first of all. And the Foreigner is a Spider-Man villain from the 80s. I remember him, but he was just like an assassin.
Isn't that a band?
It is also a band, yes, Foreigner. But the original, he didn't have powers. He was just like a really good assassin. He was like kind of like the Punisher. This, I don't know. I don't understand what he does here. Does he hypnotize you? You see him, he takes off his glasses, he counts to 3, and time pauses, and he can just walk around you and shoot you. And it was completely pointless. He didn't even need to be in the movie.
No. It's a weird add-on too. I mean, I guess it's a little different than the animal powers, so give him credit for that.
No, that's true.
Yeah, it's
People just have powers in this movie.
yeah, I don't get it.
I thought the scene at the monastery was okay action-wise, kind of the ambush they set up with them blowing the wall and then down he falls.
Which one?
When he goes to save his brother at the Turkish monastery, and then they fire like a fucking rocket power grenade at him and they all fall. And shit.
Yeah.
And, yeah.
It's fine. It's not like, you know what? The action sequences are of a big budget movie. They don't feel Netflixy or anything. They feel like you're watching a real movie, but then everything else that's around it is so terrible that, and the CG is like not really. So even though the action sequences and the explosions and the locations are good, but there is something about the way he moves that's a little rubbery.
Mm-hmm.
And so but you could kind of like get past that a little bit. We've seen bad CG before, nothing new, like with the Flash and shit like that. And the Flash is a big blockbuster movie they spend millions and millions of dollars on. So it's giving you some of those big money scenes, but everything is just done so poorly.
It's executed. Yeah, it's written in a way that just slams you over the head with stuff where you're just like, why are you spoon feeding me everything?
It's all exposition. All the dialogue
why are you spoon
is bad exposition.
Why is everything exposition, and why does this plot have no momentum? Oh, I know why. Because you keep fucking spoon feeding me things.
They keep changing
as if I'm fucking stupid.
Yeah.
I mean, it's literally written as if everyone in the audience is a child.
Yeah, a little bit, yes.
Like everything's explained with I went to a doctor.
I went to a doctor. How did
Right.
you get powers? I went to a doctor. How did you get powers? I also
drank
went.
something.
I did. There was these.
Right.
I think it's hilarious when he finds Calypso and he's got the tarot card, and she's like, "Oh, I just happened to have the whole set with me." This is what a coincidence. She's so forced. It's so just out of nowhere.
Yeah, I mean, even the foreigner scene, like out of nowhere, he's caught by the foreigner.
Yes,
He's about to die.
Talk about this scene.
All of a sudden now, Calypso, nowhere throughout the rest of this movie has this. All of a sudden, I think they hint at it very randomly one point. Also, now she's a fucking archer.
She has the crossbow.
It's right between the head.
Yeah,
and it's like,
she's very accurate.
Why does this plot need her to just be, whenever there's something that needs to be written out, find a way to write themselves out of the hole? It's Calypso that is the character that gets them out of the hole.
And she just pops up and does it and then leaves.
I need to find someone.
Yeah.
Oh,
I found
I'll
it.
hit up Calypso, who now is a
Calypso.
lawyer and has connections.
Calypso.
So they do this thing in the movie that it's really annoyed me too. So he goes to, in the opening scene, he goes to the prison, kills the guy.
Yes.
And then
Jordan.
he joins his team on the plane.
Right.
With the lady's talking to him, but you never see the lady.
Yeah.
We never see that fucking lady.
Yeah.
And the lady comes back and like picks up the other lady.
Who is this
a couple
person?
times. Yeah,
Not
you don't
even
know.
Aaron Taylor Johnson's abs could save this movie.
Yeah, there's no like a lot of the movie. This movie over explains a lot of things, but then does not explain how Kraven makes any money, has this global connection to this lady on a plane.
Yeah, what is this?
Like, I would love to see,
Like Uncharted.
like, at least the other rich man movies like Batman or Iron Man, they explain, oh, he's rich.
Yeah.
He got a rich family,
Yeah.
blah, blah, blah. We know that fucking Kraven ran off from his dad when he was 15. What money does he have?
Yeah.
What is he doing?
No one's paying him.
how
to-
is he making
Yeah,
money?
who's paying him? What is he? How is he making a little? How does he live in a freaking ecosphere in the
He
middle of
lives in
fucking
the
Russia?
biodome with fucking Pauly
Yeah.
Shore. He's got a list. He's got a list of people. Does that pay him? Somebody paying you to take down this list? What are his powers? What exactly?
What are his powers?
What exactly are his powers?
That's not a Kraven thing, right? That's not his power.
No,
right?
he's
Well,
just
but in the comics, Calypso does give him a serum that enhances his strength and stuff. But he's scaling the wall
not
like
a lion.
Spider-Man. He's
no,
not.
but he does.
yeah.
He doesn't do all
He's
this
got
shit.
superpowered vision and fucking speed and straight, and he can run. He's running like Tom Cruise in this fucking thing.
He can spot something a mile away.
Yeah.
Like he sees a fucking cigarette on the ground. Oh, there it is.
His eyes glow orange like a lion's. I don't know. It's vague at best. So let's talk about the end because it's just ridiculous. The foreigner has a toxin and manages to hit him in the forest, and this toxin brings out your deepest, darkest fears. And what does he hallucinate? What are his fears? It's spiders, of course.
Oh,
get it? He's afraid of spiders, and I was like, really. Fucking really right. That's when Calypso kills him. I don't know where. Then we get that whole scene with the buffalo stampede and a full CGI rhino.
The same buffalo from before.
Yes, with the missing horn comes back
What the
to
fuck
save
is
Kraven
that?
because they're buddies. Because this Kraven is buddies, friends to all animals. Clearly, he can talk.
He's clearly the Aquaman of
Yes,
the land.
he's like Dr. Doolittle, and he is friends of animals and killers of poachers.
He wrestles like a cheetah or something, leopard or something.
Yeah, and he's
Yeah,
like, oh,
that's his buddy.
I knew him
yeah.
since he was a cub. I was like, okay,
Yeah.
we get it. But how does it?
And then the leopard later on attacks the group.
Oh, it
group
does
with
help him. And you think, how is he going to kill Kraven? How's Kraven going to kill Rhino, who's covered with indestructible skin? They pull a Death Star maneuver where you just stab him in the hole where the fucking juice goes. Of course, the one little weak spot will take him down, and that's what happens.
If you were like 11 years old, would you like this movie?
Oh, maybe 10 or 11.
I think I would like it. I think I would like it, but then also go, this movie's really boring in parts.
It is really boring, and I kind of wish I saw it with like a rowdy crowd that's ready to laugh at a bad movie, because maybe that would have been entertaining. Because it is.
I was
hilarious.
sitting there laughing at a lot of different
like
parts.
Madam Web, it's unintentionally hilarious, some of these fucking lines. So, anyways, they kill Kraven. I mean, Kraven kills Rhino, and then he realizes, oh, it was his dad that sent the Rhino after him. His dad's been the bad guy this whole time, finds him camping in the forest, and the dad confesses, yeah, I used your brother. I had him kidnapped so that you would take out the Rhino. And what does Sergei do? He takes all the bullets from his guns, and I guess he told a bear earlier to just kill my father, because he walks away and a grizzly bear attacks and kills Nikolai. Great. Jump to 1 year later. It is Dimitri's birthday again, because he visited him on his birthday. And now Dimitri is running the club and the criminal empire for some reason. And he hates Kraven because of what he did to his dad. I don't know why, unclear. And they're walking down the bridge, and suddenly he turns, and this little guy has the head of Aaron Taylor Johnson. It's very weird. And he goes, what happened?
It's very strange.
It's like a tiny body with Aaron. He goes, what happened? He goes, I went to see a doctor, and now this is me. He is, and then it turns and gives you for a split second a comics accurate chameleon face mask before.
And then we cut to Aaron Taylor Johnson going to Nikolai Kravinov's place.
Father, yes.
Where his father, since he knew he was going to be killed,
Yes.
left him a note.
Yes. Saying, I'm proud of you, son. Here's the mane.
And a vest.
Here's the vest, the mane of the lion you killed that made you. And he puts it on at the very end and sits down and movie over. What the fuck? You couldn't have put this on earlier.
It poses as like the comic book cover, right?
Dude, there were scenes in the trailer where he's like wearing this vest and twirling a spear with fire. None of that shit is in this movie. Why couldn't he have put this on before the last scene? That would have been nice. Why couldn't it become Kraven? And then the whole time, Aaron Taylor Johnson is like, this is a Kraven origin villain. By the end, I'm going to be the villain. And I'm like, are you really? I don't see how you're a bad guy now. None of this makes any sense.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah, I guess that at the end is him becoming the villain Kraven, and I'm just like, what? Like, how does he?
What exactly?
Is that how? Because that's not what I took out of that. I just took out of that. Oh, he's wearing this thing now.
He's like,
I didn't take that he's now the villain.
No, I didn't get that. I didn't get that either. And now, like, but to set up a chameleon and a conflict on all this shit, what are you doing? It just kind of made me mad that they're shoehorning all the Spider-Man shit in for no reason that leads to nowhere. A lot of people compare.
There's no tact to what they do. There's nothing. The people at Sony, they don't know how to do subtle. They don't know how to weave in things and put little nuggets in there that, if you miss it, it's fine. But if you don't miss it, it's like a little thing, like an Easter egg. They don't do that.
Yeah.
They bang you over the head with shit over and over. They make Aaron Taylor Johnson's face on a little guy's bot. Like, they just do things. It's just so fucking stupid and brain dead. They're the worst. They don't know how to make movies. I honestly don't understand how things. I know Ruggs doesn't think this is that bad. I don't know what Imran thinks, because Imran will shit on movies and then give them 7 out of 10.
It's pretty bad.
But this movie is awful. I can't believe that this movie ran through the scripts, and clearly people thought it was awful because the amount of ADR in here. I wonder what the dialogue was previously.
They changed.
To that.
Yes, it was chopped up and put back together. Clearly Frankenstein back together. I feel like the Rhino stuff was inserted. The Calypso stuff was all chopped up. I don't know.
The Calypso stuff is the worst. That is legitimately horrible.
Yeah.
It really is a Frankenstein film.
It's really a Frankenstein film. Now, maybe I feel like I've been softened by Morbius and Madam Web, and that's why I wasn't.
Morbius is leagues better than this.
Yeah.
In my opinion.
I wasn't expecting.
And Morbius is also shit. Don't get me wrong.
Yeah.
But at least you have Matt Smith twirling around like he's in fucking. Yeah. He thinks he's Joaquin Phoenix in the Joker.
But I will say, I think this has the best action out of Morbius, Madam Web, and Kraven.
Yeah, the ending of Morbius was kind of a letdown. It just kind of was like, but I feel like this had better action set pieces.
But it's still
it's also rated R, right?
It's rated R, and they kind of waste that. Like, you could have given me a romance scene with Calypso. Like, you could have been like, do something interesting with the R.
That whole thing was weird. I mean, you can tell that it probably intended to make them a romance, a thing.
Yeah,
but they never do that. No. It's just fucking. Oh my god. I don't have enough bad things to say about this.
I felt like it had potential. Like with the Russell Crowe with
potential
with the brother.
What?
We have to with the story, with some of the things like you could have done something way more interesting with
which story did you think had potential? I focused
on the family and the father and the brother, and just like the mafia and
I feel like I kind of agree with Imran. I feel like they had appropriate things in there, like puzzle pieces. Mm-hmm. They didn't deliver with them. Yeah. They fucked it up each time.
Yeah.
Like they had, because as I said, they got this actress that is like an Oscar winning actress and, talented lady, but then they ADR'd the shit out of the story and they chopped it up and they didn't seem to have faith in their idea. And the set pieces were the set pieces. And I feel like they edited some of them out. Like, there's some action scenes they edited out. So I don't even know what they were doing. It seems like it was just faultily done. Like, I think the producers and the writers hacked this to bits and made it really terrible, and with the ADR and all that stuff. So, but I think that the initial idea of, okay, Kraven's this dude who uses his power to fucking stop people like his dad, and then finally he gets his dad. He fucking realizes his dad has to be taken out. He takes him out. And okay, that's fine. That's like a good enough arc there. Mm-hmm. But they just don't do anything with the other characters. It's just,
There's too many, and it's not great.
It does get sidetracked with the whole Rhino stuff, and then the brother and all the
and Calypso.
Yep.
Like, I don't know. They just
such a weird thing, man.
I feel like that they just think that people who go to the movies are just really
stupid.
Dumb.
Yeah, how stupid do you think your audience is? Oh,
it's an insult to your intelligence when you're watching these movies. Because, like, I understand if you're watching fucking Power Rangers the movie in 1997 or something like that, you could just.
It's a throwback in a bad way. No,
and you're like, you don't care. It's just a fucking movie, and nobody takes it seriously. But
the serum. What the fuck was the serum? In the comics, Calypso does do this, but they explain the whole time. I'm like, you better explain what the fuck this thing is, and they never do.
Yeah, why the serum? It's like the first scene is her mom or is her grandma, whatever, giving her the serum, and it's like, wait. Why?
Why are you just giving this away? Does this thing cure cancer?
Why is this the first scene?
It's like if someone handed you plutonium.
Yeah,
right.
It's like, and it's just very
magic drug
and you would hand it to
a fucking teenager?
Would you hang it to a teenager like that?
She just wasted it on the first guy she saw. She didn't know what it was.
Okay, let's say, for example, let's say they're not in a fucking windstorm and they're sitting somewhere and they set it up really well. She's like, you're old enough to get your first reading. I've never done this with you before. I don't know what's going to happen. I'm very concerned about this. And she pulls the cards. And then she has this reaction like, oh my God, I could see from this. This is fucking, they didn't handle it like that.
No.
They were just like, they flip a card over like, oh, here you go.
Yep.
Here's the thing.
Yep.
So, and she, she's like, oh my God, I need to tell you this thing, and I'm trusting you with this. This is really big responsibility, and she just has to go and dig around for it. She just doesn't pull it out of her pocket like she has to go in the back and get it, and dust it off of somewhere, open it up, and to blow the dust off of it and go, okay, I've been protecting this for fucking all my whole life, and I just read your cards, and it's a sign that you should get this, and already you give it some weight, but they don't do that.
No,
they just insultingly just hand wave it. They just, okay, here you go. And it's just, when you do that, it's like, it's so lazy.
Yeah.
And you're like, you didn't earn anything. And it bothers me when you watch it, and it's annoying. It's insulting to the audience.
Yeah, it's lazy. And what's crazy though, is that a lot of the stuff is lazy, yet they found a way to make this a 2-hour movie. And I'm just going, you don't have enough interesting things to make this a 2-hour movie. This should have been an hour and a half.
90 minute. Absolutely. Should have been.
You should have had a fun time with this and just run through it. But instead they wanted to go into an elaborate origin. They wanted to do this.
Too many bad guys.
They wanted to do, 3 bad guys. They wanted to do this weaving of the bad guys where now by the end you find out that fucking the dad had did a double cross on his son and blah, 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 blah. And then you want to add on at the end that now the brother's a villain and that he's a villain. And it's just like, guys,
what are you doing?
You guys aren't fucking smart enough to write this shit.
I mean, they did the same thing with Madam Web at the end. But like, oh, here's them in the costume again for a second. Something that's never going to happen. Look, the worst thing about this for me is they're burning these great Spider-Man villains. Apparently, Sam Raimi wanted to use Kraven in Spider-Man 4 back in the day. And then recently, Ryan Coogler wanted him from Black Panther. Sony said no. John Watts wanted to use him in a Spider-Man movie. Sony said no. And now they have burned any hope of me actually seeing Kraven's Last Hunt brought to the big screen. This is akin to Zack Snyder destroying Frank Miller's Dark Knight by him using those images in his movie. And now if you ever do it, it's not going to be as earned because he already fucked it up. This is the same thing with one of Spider-Man's greatest stories.
Yeah, they just want to use it in the trailer to get the fanboys talking.
It's just to get people. Yeah, it's just a crash grab.
And they don't earn it. And oh my God, it's fucking terrible.
Shoving in Daily Bugle fucking newspaper mastheads and all these Spider-Man references and just no. Yeah.
All right.
Anyways,
this is making me mad.
I know it is kind of a little bit what they're doing, but is it over? Yes. No. Look, let's wrap it up like this. Let's rate it, rank it. Give me your final thoughts, and I do want to talk about a little bit the legacy of this bullshit that the damage they've done. Maybe Anthony.
Yeah. So I think. Let me just, looking at my Sony, I think I landed on this being just slightly better than Madam Web. I had Madam Web as a 0.5 star out of 5 on Letterboxd.
Yeah.
which would mean it was a 1 out of 10 if we're doing out of 10.
Yikes.
On Letterboxd, I had this as a 1 star, so that means it's a 2 out of 10. So I'm going to rate it a 2 out of 10. It is absolutely horrible. Do not give any money to this. You should definitely, if you're ever going to watch this, you need to watch this with either stoned
or drunk.
Or watch this with a bunch of other people and be in the mood to just laugh at stupid shit.
Yeah.
The problem with this movie, though, is similar to Madam Web. Although it doesn't have, I have to look up the lines, but it's kind of similar to Madam Web in that it's not bad enough to be so bad it's good.
Right.
Like The Room or something like that.
Yes.
It's just actually really bad. So it's not even, doesn't even have the rewatchability of, oh man, that was so fucking stupid. Let's watch it again because we want to see how stupid this is. It's just fucking stupid and not, and boring.
Yeah.
So, yeah, 2 out of 10. It's the second worst Sony Spider-Verse movie for me. And I could not have had a more terrible time at the movie theater.
Fun. Rug.
Although I did laugh a few times, and that was the most redeeming thing. There was an older couple next to me, and I thought they probably thought I was insane because I just was laughing at certain scenes.
Some funny shit. Rugs, where are you going to put it?
I feel like it's tied with Morbius for me. I think I gave Morbius like a 4 or something like that. A 4, just slightly, I don't know. It has a little bit better action than Morbius. So I'll give it a 4.5.
Okay. And then
it's a terrible movie.
Yeah.
It's got action. If you like action, it's got some action in it. You're going to wait for it, but it'll be there. It's not a good movie, though.
And then out of the 6, Madam Web is at the bottom for you, too.
Yeah.
God, I am so torn because while Madam Web is hilariously bad, like it's campy, laugh out loud bad when you watch what they're doing. That's entertaining. Kraven hits those laugh out loud bad time at moments. It has better action, but it's more boring than even Madam Web. Fuck. I think I may be with you, Ruggs. I'm going to give it 4.5 stars as well. 0.5 point for the action, putting it just above Madam Web for me, but very close because it's not good.
Here's a quick thing to think about, too. We watched last week Punisher Warzone.
Yes.
It, for all intents and purposes, is a poorly made movie.
Yes.
Infinitely better than this fucking shit. I would watch Punisher Warzone on loop and not be mad about it.
Because it's got applesauce.
Yeah,
it's got applesauce.
Yes.
It's got the fucking stupid lines.
Yes.
It's got the. I mean, you want to talk about if you want to fucking make an impact. Have a dude punch a hole in someone's face if you want the action to be remembered.
If you're gonna go R-rated, go
have
R-rated.
a dude twirl around upside down on a chandelier. What does this movie compare the action in that movie to this, which also is rated R? There's nothing. You're never gonna remember any of the action in this movie.
It's average. It's mediocre. The action, and I would agree with you there. Punisher is a little more memorable.
At least if you're gonna make a bad movie, make it like Warzone.
What would be your favorite out of these? Out of the 6.
Oh, I love Venom 3.
You like the third one the best?
I do.
I would do the third Venom and then maybe the first Venom. The first
Venom is pretty entertaining.
Is very because
it's stupid as fuck.
Yeah. I think that both of those are decent.
I mean, Last Dance is just unforgettable. Forgettable, not unforgettable. It's very forgettable. All of these movies, though, ultimately very forgettable is what happens.
Well, the only thing that's memorable, and it's what Ruggs mentioned earlier, which is, I guess, not really even a Venom thing, is the dynamic between Tom Hardy and Venom.
Yeah. And it is Hardy that saves that, and I'll still remember him sitting in the fucking tank with the lobster. It's like hilarious. So it's his quirkiness that really does anything out of any of these movies. Now, circling back to that story about that these aren't done. They're going to put a pause on these. Remember, they had ideas like Sinister Six. They wanted to do Silver Sable. There was going to be a Silk thing, Black Cat.
It was going to be Silver and Black, right? Silver Sable and Black Cat. What else did they want to do? Silk?
Silk. They were going to do something with Silk.
Are any of these good ideas?
No, not now. I think they're pausing this, and I don't know why. Do you think
the worst idea? I don't know how Madam Web got greenlit.
Yes.
Like how do you make a movie about an old lady?
It makes no sense. If you know this character.
You don't. You make it about a young
Make
lady.
it about, yes. Make it about 3 young ladies.
That to me, I mean, the other movies I can see in a way you can make the movie, but Madam Web, I mean,
but like Madam Web, the main character's acting is so horrible, and the way she delivers her lines in ADR, I don't even know, and the whole story about this, it just
some people are calling Kraven the Tommy Wiseau's The Room of these, but Madam Web is absolutely the room of this set of movies.
Like Madam Web is way more like. You can watch it just for the fucking. You can't believe what you're watching. I think that Kraven is more just of a failure in the editing room.
Yeah,
like just
yeah. You're right. There isn't the horrible. I mean, there's really campy acting performances, but Dakota Fanning and the dude playing the other guy that's ADR'd for most of the movie.
The bad guy. It's amazing.
Legitimately bad acting.
Like that movie made me think this was a prank. I was looking around going, is this for real? This is a real movie? Did you see that? He's not saying any of this shit. It's so bad. It didn't bother me as much as Kraven. Madam Web was hilariously obvious to me. But do you think this makes Sony think about selling back the rights to Spider-Man at all? Or are they...
Look, if they're not going to be able to fucking do anything good with it, they should just cash in and get rid of it. But like, I really am beside myself with the level of fucking poor talent at Sony. Like, terrible producers, terrible studio heads.
Shocking.
Horrible writing and horrible editing that they do. The fact that they can't hit home runs...
I don't understand how they can sit and watch any of these movies and be like, yeah, that's good. Yeah, release it. It's good for like, really? Who is fucking who? Where's your? So the other articles mentioned they are going to focus more on quality control. You don't say, you fuckers. That's something you need. I think just cast your own Spider-Man. You could have cast your own Spider-Man if that was not contractual, and you just thought it would confuse people. You people are fucking idiots. You should have cast your own.
They made their own Spider-Man movie with Spider-Man 2, which was Amazing Spider-Man 2, which is not a good movie.
So this whole run from the first Amazing Spider-Man to 2 to then the Venom movies and this,
it's been bad.
How does one studio though give you Spider-Man 2, Sam Raimi, and the Into the Spider-Verse movies, which are amazing, and then give you fucking this and Madam Web? I don't understand. I don't understand how it could swing.
Well, I think that after Spider-Man 2, the studio started stepping in and fucking with Raimi. Right.
Yeah, and he got the fuck out.
And they've just not been able to get their fucking grimy hands. Get the fuck away. Let the person that you hired do it.
It's Avi Arad. Like, it reeks of studio interference.
Yeah, it's just when you're doing this look back at Sony and these past, from Spider-Man 3 on, as far as live action. Yeah. I mean, there's just a level. I mean, it's got to be just a level of incompetence that is just unbelievable. I mean, how is it possible to release that many bad movies
over and over again?
I'm just saying they made Spider-Man 2, which is arguably one of the best movies that's ever been made.
And
in
the
genre.
Spider-Verse movies had Lord and Miller as creators, and they have a unique
Spider-Man
style.
1, Spider-Man 2, the Spider-Verse movies are all really good stuff.
They have simultaneously made the best Spider-Man shit and the absolute worst Spider-Man shit out there, which is just crazy. But
I don't know.
Ultimately, I don't know what you're doing, Sony, and take a pause and focus on actually having Spider-Man.
I also would have Aaron Taylor Johnson again really got ripped.
Yeah,
I would have casted some fucking Eastern European.
I think he was miscast in this. It's not Kraven. Like,
he's too pretty boy,
and it's not the fucking character. If you've played the second Spider-Man game, like, there's a great version of Kraven. That's the Kraven. They can do it in video games. I don't know what the fuck is going on.
Video games is a different. I mean, it's clear that everyone involved from the top down that is making the live action Spider-Man movies just really needs to rethink what they're doing.
Like, who can you blame? Do you blame the director? Do you blame the producers?
They should just clean that out and just all those guys, anyone that's involved with this stuff, just fire them.
Yeah, because
it's clear they don't know how to do this.
Yes, it's going to be hard to forget these ever happened, and what a time.
It's legitimately difficult to do what they're doing and make.
You have to actively try to make something this bad.
They're sabotaging their own movies.
Yes, it's wild. Yeah. So here, let me wrap this up. I have a set of clips to play for the management over at Sony and this whole Spider-Man universe that kind of sums it all up. Here we go.
What you just said is one of the most insanely idiotic things I have ever heard. At no point in your rambling, incoherent response were you even close to anything that could be considered everyone in this room is now dumber for having listened to it. I award you no points, and may God have mercy on your soul.
I think that's about right.
Yeah. Billy Madison.
I'm just looking through Reddit because I was trying to find lines in this movie that were horrible.
Yes.
And the one I've just come across right now is a line delivered by Calypso in the movie. She goes, "She died not long after that, and I never saw her."
I remember that. I was like, what the fuck did you just say? Did you say she died and then you never saw her again? Oh, my Lord. I love him going, to become a legend, you must kill a legend. Like, just the most over-the-top Russian fucking accent.
Calypso got that actress got the worst shit she could ever
Man,
get.
if I was her and I watched this, I would be so fucking mad what they did to you. Fucking think like she's an Oscar winner. What happened here? Just shoehorned in for no reason and too many things. Oh, what a disaster.
That's almost as good, though, as in Madam Web when she gets seen by the doctor and the doctor goes, "Go home, get some rest, and watch some old movies."
And she does.
She goes and watches some old movies.
The doctor told me I need to watch some old movies. Where do I find go? Eternal classic movies? Where do I gotta go?
Although this line of died and never saw her again, that's pretty bad. I mean, do you even?
Yeah, she died, and then I just fucking never showed up for anything.
That's strange.
Ever again.
Dude, I mean that's there's
bad.
a writer there that wrote that line.
Yeah, somebody wrote that.
That's paid. Someone is paid to write and wrote that.
And then several people were like, "Yeah, that's fine. I don't see,
That's fine. Yeah,
any
throw it
problem
out.
with this."
Let's not ADR over that
Yeah,
one.
that will keep. We're gonna keep that's gold. All the other lines, let's ADR over them.
The other one is when I go by Kraven with a K.
With a K. That is as bad as Call Me Jigsaw, although the Jigsaw is a lot better. Like, why, Kraven? Why did you come up with it? What is the reason? What have you been doing this whole time?
How do you make money?
How do you make money?
How do you have a private
Why do you
jet?
live in the biodome?
Whatever.
Yeah, who's that girl?
Who's the girl?
They don't show you.
Who is the fucking girl?
What? And what was in that serum?
Why did they not want to show the girl?
I don't know.
Yeah, it's bad. It's fucking
It's
bad.
just like in Venom 3, the guy standing in the room with the monitors, and they never showed you who it was, and he was calling all the shots, and I'm like, what is happening here?
Why? That's a great point. I don't know. I don't understand.
Honestly,
why
these six movies should be studied in the future because it's mind-boggling.